Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. Now we've come here today because there was one particular question that somebody wanted to ask my guide. So I'm going to go into trance in a moment to put that forward to you. I leave my guide up to it, as you know. Many of you have watched him many times. Those of you that haven't, it's quite a nice experience to listen to it. And I find the best way to listen is with headphones over your ears. You get kind of closer contact like that, I suppose. It's right next to your ears and you're taking it in a lot more. So anyway, I'm going to leave it up to my son to give you some links that you can go on to on the Spotify. Is it Spotify?
Yeah, a lot of the audios will be going on Spotify and other podcast apps like Amazon Music, Deezer, and a few others. They will be going up regular, and the audio to this video will be going on there as well for people who like to listen to it back without the video part. Also, you did do an interview just a few days ago, didn't you, with Trevor Wall?
Yeah, Trevor Wall. Let me just look because if I have a look, because you might type in Trevor Wall and come up with. So it's Trevor Wall Academy of Healing Arts. That's what you need to type into YouTube to come up with his channel. And of course you can subscribe to that if you wish to for future interviews with other mediums that he'll be doing. That's a wonderful way. So he's a very nice person, very laid back, and couldn't wish for a nicer guy. So good luck with watching those interviews as well. We just like to include other people in our things. Alright, so if you're ready everyone, I'm ready, and I shall see you when I come around. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Jonathan. Thank you for joining us today.
I am very happy to do so.
So what we've done is we've put out a thing where people could put what they wanted to see as a subject for the next video, and people liked and commented what their favourite one was to go with. So the highest voted one was from a lady named Jean Buckley. She asked, can we pass before our pre-planned time? For example, if we was murdered, if was our murder planned or a road traffic accident, would that be all pre-planned in the spirit world before we reincarnate?
Yes, it would. As I always say to the people, everything is synchronized, and your soul has a plan that you on earth may not understand. But you have a soul within your being that knows what its journey is, and it may want certain people of the earth to learn something from it. So you see, there is always going to be negative and positive in your world, and these things are always going to be happening, unfortunately. But as the soul exits the being, if it is going to pass in a traumatic state, then we will be taking the soul to be placed in a place of rest so that they can realize where they are and can be alleviated of a passing that is rather much of a shock to them. But looking at it at a shock point of view, the soul is not necessarily shocked. It is the being that has passed, that has found themselves outside of their being, can feel very light and comfortable and free, and has a knowing that somehow everything will be all right. But if it is a murder situation, and that person has passed in a very traumatic state and found themselves outside of their being, and they are in a state of shock, then it may take a little bit of time before they make the transition to the other side. But we will be there to help them go across to the other side, and they will be taken to a place of rest. Sometimes the soul can become rather discerned about where they are and not be able to see where the light is. So we will come to help them. If they call out for help, we will bring them the light and take them home to heaven. So all of this that I tell you is real, yes. And I will also tell you that souls do get, not necessarily stuck, but they become somewhat attached to the earth because they have unfinished business here. For instance, they may want their perpetrator to come to justice, and then once that is done, they will make the proper transition to the light, knowing that their loved ones will have that justice. So in that situation, yes, the soul has a greater plan to make an exit. And a soul cannot necessarily be harmed. It cannot. You are going to a place of love, that which you come from. So you cannot be harmed.
So if we have chosen a traumatic way to pass, would there be any fear from the soul coming into the world?
I think that there would be the soul carrying into the next life, perhaps the fear and trauma in some way to overcome it in a different way in this life. Or maybe the soul would choose to have regression at some point in their life where they would go back to that trauma and be able to be overcoming it to move forward in their lives. So it is most common in your world today to have these people that are somewhat developing a gift of being able to take people into these states of mind where they can be regressed to previous lives so that they can far quicker overcome these traumas from previous lifetimes.
So if we did have a traumatic experience in a previous lifetime, do you think it could affect our decisions and make us perhaps maybe more careful about what we do in this life?
That is a probability, yes.
Okay. Can we learn as much from passing at a young age as we would in a more mature age?
Would you say that again, sir?
Would we learn as much in our life on this time on our time in the world when we pass at a young age as we would at a mature age?
Well, sometimes if you pass at a young age, then you will get the opportunity to be able to come back again if you so wish and live a full life. But it doesn't mean to say that the soul has no wisdom, because it will have had previous incarnations that it learned from, you see.
Okay. Through science and much more of a overall better diet, we do overall live longer now. Would that have any effect on the world's spiritual progression?
Yes, I think that it would. Because I would say that through that, you can have time to become at one with yourself again. Your knowledge that you have gained about the way that you consume your food, some of you see, the brain is running everything, isn't it? The brain is the whole of the consciousness. It is not the spirit consciousness, because the consciousness sits inside the brain of the soul, you see. But I would say to you, if you're going to look at the logic state of mind and what you do in your everyday world, your higher self is quite often telling you or warning you in certain subjects of thought that you are needing to perhaps change some things in your life to become more healthier. Now, when you eat certain foods, certain things within them may react in the body and somewhat limit your state of thinking. So if you are to eat more naturally and cleanse your body and your mind, not only in the way of thought, but in the way of consuming, then you will become a more better, stronger, clearer thinking person in life.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. I think that's all for today.
Well, I do hope that answers your question.
Yes, and thank you for Jean. It was a really good question.
Yes, I do see it as a very sensible question. But you see, when people go across to the other side, we are always there to help them. They are never going to be alone.
Okay, thank you.
God bless you all.